Hi Europe, it's the people of Eurovision Ireland, and we're back with our third review of the songs from the 2023 Eurovision Song Contest. It takes place in May in Liverpool. We've already done 2 reviews, so go and watch those. And this is the last 5 songs from the first semi-final that we're doing in alphabetical order. You might have worked out which 5 they are. Anyway, I'll introduce the team. We have Sarah.
Hi everyone.
We have Bogdan.
Hi everyone.
We have James.
Hi everyone.
We have Richard.
Hi everyone.
And we have me, John, and Staggy might be trying to get in shot at some time during the course of this recording. Anyway, the 5 we're going to review tonight are Norway, Portugal, Serbia, Sweden, and Switzerland. And as before, we're going to vote on these after we've done a review. And each of us is going to give it a song score out of 10. So there's a maximum available of 50 and a minimum available of 0. But who knows? Right, so we're going to kick off with Norway, and their song is called Queen of Kings, and it's performed by Alessandra, and Sarah's going to take the lead on this one.
Right, well, I was lucky enough to cover the Norwegian Melody Grand Prix with our live bloggings, and while all the attention sort of, sorry about the pun with Ulrika, the attention was mostly sort of focused on Ulrika, wanting to make a comeback. I wasn't as convinced anyway, but I have to say that Alessandra was the first act in the first semi-final in Norway. As soon as she came on that stage and started singing, performing, I thought this girl is going to win it. I can see her winning the whole thing. She's young. She knows how to gain an audience. She certainly owns that stage. There's very, very slick choreography there with it. It's got all the ingredients there, I would say, to not only just to go to Eurovision itself, but I also think she's going to be one of the contenders this year. Yeah, and I was very, very impressed, and I'm glad to say that my prediction came true. I mean, Ulrika's song was good, no, get me wrong, but as soon Alessandra just stood out from everything else, and there were a hell of a lot of good performers in that Melody Grand Prix this year. So yeah, I think Norway are onto something there.
Hey, thank you, Sarah. Now, Norway performing first in the first semi-final, so they've got a very, very early start, relatively, on that Tuesday night. And it's not always easy opening, but yeah, we'll see. So we're going to give our scores for Norway. Sarah, what's your score for Norway?
9.
9. Okay. And Bogdan?
10.
10. Okay. And James?
I think it's a brilliant way to open the show. It's a 10.
And Richard?
9.
9. And I've got down for 8. But we're more or less all in tune with that one. So that gives a Eurovision Ireland score of 46. That may well be leading so far. Moving on, we go to Portugal. Now, Portugal are performing 5th in the first semi-final, and their song is I Curacao, and it's performed by Mimi Cat. Might be a lot to say on this one. Over to you, Bogdan.
Thank you, John. I must say I was absolutely ecstatic when I saw that she won Festival de Canção. She was my favorite to begin with. I cheered along, I sing along, I clap along. It's such a fun song, traditional, such a good energy, a very powerful voice. The choreography is there, the involvement with the public is there, the different layers, and then the crescendo towards the end, and including the ending, like hey, and yeah, it's Eurovision. What do you want more? It's one of my favorite Portugal entries ever. So I just love it. I love it.
Thank you. Let's see how that sentiment carries around the group. What's your score for Portugal?
It's a solid 9.
Solid 9. Okay. And James?
This one's bonkers, but I quite like it. I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay. And Rich?
I too give it a 7.
And I'm going to give this a 9. I think it's brilliant. And Sarah?
I'm going to give it 9 as well. I just love Portuguese entries anyway, but this is brilliant.
Okay, so that one scores 41. Another good score. Anything over 40 is pretty good, I think it's fair to say. Moving on, we now go to Serbia. Now, Serbia performing third in the first semi-final. So they've got an early start as well. So they're going to be in Liverpool for quite a while. And their song is called, I think, Samo Mise Spava. And it's by a guy who's performing under the name of Luke Black. Now, to lead on this one, it's James.
Right, so as you've mentioned the running order, I'll jump to that first. He's performing third in the semi-final. Now, a certain Serbian singer by the name of Constractor performed third in her semi-final last year. And that ended very, very well for Serbia. Now, interesting John's just done that, because that's another point I want to raise about this song. I'll get onto that in a minute. But yeah, I watched Pesmos Eurovision, and it was definitely a standout performance. And I remember watching it and thinking there are a couple of songs that could do it. This was one of them. Well, okay, so I think Luke Black might be going to Liverpool. Where do I start? It's very intense. And I think as performance art, it works very, very well. You've sort of got this very futuristic stage. You're sort of reclining in what sort of looks like a, I mean, I don't want to say sarcophagus, but that's kind of what it looks like. You've got like wires coming off it. There is sort of graphic of like this metal monster with glowing red eyes, which, you know, that you can read into that all sorts of things. The backing dancers sort of moving around, they all look like they're plugged into something. So there's a lot of imagery here of sort of, you know, technology and sort of some quite dark ideas at play there about, you know, all being plugged into things. And then you have the sort of message of the lyrics, you know, I only want to sleep, you know, wake me up when it's over kind of thing, which, yeah, again, I think a lot of people identify with at the moment, especially after the last few years that we've had. Now, saying all that, I watched it and thought, okay, this is quirky, it's different, a Eurovision audience will definitely react to this. And this brings me back to what John was doing a second ago. If you go into any room of Eurovision fans and start chanting Biti Strava, the first thing everyone does is yeah, everyone does it. It's almost instinctive. It's a bit like Soldi. You hear those lyrics and you know you're in a room of Eurovision fans. Try it, it works. So Constractor, very bizarre, outlandish performance, but it was funny. It involved people. You know, you could clap along, you could chant along. This feels a bit more mature, and I mean that in the sense that it's sort of not so sing along. It's a bit more watch me, I'm telling you something. Does that mean it's going to do as well as Constractor? I'm not 100% convinced. I think it's the kind of thing it could do well, and I think an audience are going to watch it and go, oh wow, do you remember the Serbian guy and all the wires? You know, people will remember it. I'm not sure it's going to sail as high as Constractor did. Getting to the final, I can see it quite possibly doing that. Once it gets there, I'd be surprised if it achieved Constractor's dizzying highs. But it's definitely going to be a talking point from the Serbian song this year.
James, decent review there. We've got to score it, of course. So what's your score out of 10 for Serbia, James?
I'm going to give it a 6.
Okay, and Rich?
5.
5. Okay. I'm giving it a 7 just because it's a bit quirky and different. Sarah?
I'll give it a 6. I'm not sure that Europe are going to get this in the same way that they were able to get Constractor last year.
And finally, Bogdan?
I'm sorry, it's a 4 for me.
4. Okay, so Serbia scores from us 28. Okay. At least it's not a big fat 0. Anyway, right, moving on. Next, alphabetically, it's our friends from Sweden. Now, they're performing 11th. Sort of a midway draw on the night. The semi-final. And it's by a certain previous performer called Lorraine. Apparently, she won it as well once. The song's called Tattoo. The fans seem to like it already. But what's Richard got to say about it?
Oh, Lorraine. First of all, fun fact, she performed 11th in her semi-final back in 2012. So there could be something there. In terms of fans liking it, going back to Sweden, because I was at Major Festival, She didn't really get the public votes, really. She got 39, I think. Now, last year's runner-up got 69. So I think it was the international juries that got her through the contest this year. Going to the staging, the big sandwich toaster. Don't think that's going to be at Liverpool because of the weight of it. So they've got to completely rework the staging. It's certainly a unique entry. Watching it on screen and being there in the arena, could I understand every word? No. I could see it being more jury favoured rather than public favoured. It'll get through the semi-final easily. Getting to when it comes to the final, I think there's stronger entries, to be honest with you. And I can't see Loreen doing the double, unfortunately, for her. It's a good try, though, but I think it is going to be completely reworked from what we've already seen to what we're going to see in Liverpool. So it could be quite risky for SVT in Sweden.
Okay, interesting review there. And more importantly, what's your score?
7.
7. I'm going to give it a 5. I'm not convinced. Sarah, what's your score for Sweden?
Yeah, I'm going to give her a 6. Again, I don't think this is a patch on Euphoria.
Okay. Bogdan?
A 7.
And James?
I'm possibly going to attract a lot of hate mail for saying this, but I'm going to give it the same score as the number of intelligible words I can hear in the song, and that's 4.
Okay. Okay, so our score for Sweden is 29. Who knew? Anyway, one final song to review, and that's from Switzerland. Now, I get the joy of doing this one now. It's called Water Gun, and it's sung by Remo Ferrer. Now, of the 5 we're reviewing here, this is the only one that we've not seen live at all, or had to come through a national final. So I have to say, to start with, I'd like to see a live performance before I can really judge what's going on here, unlike the other 4, where what you've seen is probably what you're going to get in Liverpool. Having said all that, I was really pleasantly surprised with what I saw. They sort of they got the Luca Hänni Fast Vibe song out the way. They've gone down this route for the last few contests since Luca, where it's been a slower song, maybe a bit more of a thoughtful song, something just to make you stop and think. And this one does that for me. I mean, the title, Water Gun, despite the title, it's sort of an anti-war sentiment, and we know, we can probably guess what it's alluding to, really. It's pleasantly surprising. I can't see it winning. It would be a shock to everyone, including me, if it did. But Switzerland are not disgracing themselves. They surprised everyone by getting through to the grand final last year, and I don't think it would be any surprise if they got through to the grand final with this one this year. As I say, I need to see a live performance before I can really judge it, but I do like what I see. There are some very big challenging notes in it as it builds towards the end. Now, if he's a decent singer, and we'll find out from a live performance, yeah, no problem with that. Or he could struggle. Again, it's all going to come down to live performance. So I've got to judge it on what I've seen, and I like it. I like what I've seen so far. So much so that my score for this will be an 8. 10. So, Sarah, what's your score for Switzerland?
I'm going to give it a 7, simply because I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people out there, especially the sort of Ukrainians that are now sort of spread out, around Europe because of the war.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Bogdan, what's your score for Switzerland?
I'm going to echo Sarah, and I think it's a 7.
Hey, and James?
I'm going to give it a 6 purely because I agree with the sentiment, and I think it's going to resonate well. The boy can sing. It's not quite my style of music, but I think this should do well.
Okay, thank you. And Richard, to finish off?
7.
7. So that scored a nice sort of steady 35. That's average 7 off each of us, which, yeah, nice way to end this little review. So, in conclusion, from last to first. In 5th place for this review on 28 points, we have Serbia. In 4th place, we have Sweden on 29. It'd be a tough old world if we all like the same stuff. That's all I can say. In 3rd place, we have Switzerland on 35. In 2nd place, we have Portugal on 41. And in 1st place on 46, we have Norway. Now, if you watched our other reviews, you'll know how these fit in, and we'll publish a list of how everything's gone so far. Do you agree with how we marked these songs? Is there something we're blindly obvious? Have we overmarked a song you think won't do very well at all? Have we underscored a song that you think could win? Tell us. We'd love to hear from you. As ever, you can find us not only on the website, but on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and I think there might be other places that we've stumbled across, but you know where we are. So I'm going to some individual goodbyes, and then we'll say goodbye together. So it's bye from Sarah.
Bye, everyone.
From Bogdan.
Bye, everyone.
From James.
Bye, everyone.
From Rich.
Bye.
From me and Staggy. Thank you, and good night.